This is the plaintiff, Ashley Barretto. She says the defendant is her ex-boyfriend and he owes her for all the things she paid for while they were together. He told her he would pay her back once he got his tax return money. Then they split up. Now he has paid nothing. She's suing him for $4,744.61, the amount she's owed. This is the defendant, Austin Mercier. He says he paid all the rent while he and the plaintiff lived together. Yes, money went back and forth in the relationship, as it normally does. And the plaintiff is now upset they're no longer together, and she's grasping at straws if she thinks he owes her all this money. He's accused of not treating his girlfriend right.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Yes.
The People's Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Marilyn Milian presiding. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
Okay, Ms. Barretto, you are suing your former boyfriend, Mr. Mercier, for $4,744.61. You say he actually owes you infinitely more than that, but part of it has been paid. And you have filed this lawsuit after the two of you broke up. So talk to me and tell me what happened here.
So we had been together since around November.
November of what year?
November of 2020, excuse me.
Oh.
And then in February of 2021, we kind of like agreed on like staying together, but I didn't move in with him. I agreed to stay with him because he had asked me to help him purchase a bunch of items because he had friends coming into town, and he wanted to get his house together before his friends came into town.
Okay, so you put out how much money to help him beautify his home, even though you weren't living in it and you had decided not to live together. How much money exactly did you pay?
Well, I probably paid over $8,000.
Why would you spend, what do you do for a living?
I serve and I bartend.
Okay, so why would you spend $8,000 in furniture for a guy who you've been dating 4 months?
He had claimed that he did not have a debit card, and he asked me to make these purchases for him, and he would pay me back in increments or with his tax return money. He never sent me a single dollar from the tax return money, nor did he send me the full amount that I've spent on all of his items.
Right, that doesn't answer why you would do such a stupid thing, which is exactly what I'm asking you. I'm asking you why on God's green acres you would spend $8 grand for furniture for some other guy, not you, and you're not living in the place according to you, so you're not going to enjoy the furniture, so that he can impress friends from out of town. And I don't think you're grasping what my comment is. Are you grasping it now? Sounds awful when I put it that way, right? Yeah, maybe
100%.
Not the best of your many ideas. All right. Now, further than that, the friends come and they decide they want to stay in a hotel, not in his house, and you pay for the hotel.
He had his mom send me about $1,000 and told me that we can use that for the weekend. I spent over $1,500, including parking, including drinks, including Ubers or Lyfts. I spent a lot of money on him thinking that he was going to pay me back the entire time.
The $1,500 that you spent on the hotel with the friends, did you stay at the hotel too?
We ended up leaving the hotel that we originally were supposed to stay in because he didn't like it. He was upset that there was no hot water. They stayed and we left that hotel to a different hotel. Understandable.
Yeah.
But the hotel that we transferred to was a lot more money than
no, but
the
what I'm asking
hotel
is
that I purchased.
the $1,500 that you put, you said his mother sent $1,000 so that you guys could have fun that weekend or whatever. That $1,000, was that consumed? And then above and beyond that, another $1,500 was consumed from your credit cards?
So from that $1,000, he had already owed me for a bunch of items like a couch. I purchased a dining room table, the TV, coffee table, lamp.
How are you keeping track of all this stuff? When you were dating and you were paying for things, how exactly did you ever have him sign a promissory note or anything?
So no, unfortunately not. Now, before this all even went through with paying for anything, it was already mutual agreement that he was going to get his tax return money and give me the entire
I have a question for you. Do you have any of that in writing? I know you don't have it in a promissory note because you just answered that. But what about texts from the time that you were spending stuff, not texts afterwards. I have all the texts you've introduced after everything hit the fan. I'm curious, do you have any emails or texts between you and him before you broke up, when you're spending the money?
I have a text message from Tuesday, February 19th of him saying that he never got cash from his boss and I don't feel like going to his house. I will pay you. I can pay you back tomorrow. I'll grab food. So this is one of many text messages that he sent me.
Pay you what, though, and for what?
This is even before I even
what is he referring to paying you? Like,
honestly,
does his text
this is
say?
from February 9th.
Right. So what was he going to pay you on February 9th? You don't remember. Okay. All right. Let me talk to you, Mr. Mercier. What kind of sugar mama were you making her into? According to her, all you did was have her pay all your bills and, and now you're a weasel and you don't want to pay her back. So talk to me and tell me your side of this.
So this is a relationship. Money was exchanged. We went out places. We used to go out to eat every weekend. I'd spend $120 on the tab every night just going to get food, Money was exchanged. We went to a hotel. Yeah, we had a good time. I paid cash for a lot of stuff. I worked a lot. I worked 6 days a week.
What do you do for a living?
I'm a manager at a restoration company. So basically fire, water damage. So I'm never really home. I was buying furniture myself. I actually have, the truck to go get the furniture. My mother was actually selling her money left and right. There's 4 or 5 different times.
Why is your mother sending her money?
I don't have an account right now. I have a different
Why don't you have an account?
Just basically you have to open one and just have it open one.
Yeah, no, there's usually a reason. Do you have somebody chasing you for debts? Like, do you owe money to the IRS?
No, I have a different account. I have a Cash App account. I have an actual account. I can't do things through the Cash App that you could do with an actual account. Like, there's a routing number and everything still. I get my direct deposits through there.
So I ask again then, why is your mother sending her money?
I would give her cash. So the way that Cash App works, you can't connect it to Zelle. So I can't send her money through Cash App. So I would give my mom the money and she would Zelle the money.
How did you guys end up breaking up? Like, what was the cause for the breakup, Ms. Barreto, and when did the breakup happen?
We broke up on April 3rd. I was at work and I gave him a call on my one break that I had all night. We got into an argument because he was trying to speak to me and one of my coworkers was trying to also speak to me, and he immediately got defensive and hung up on me. Immediately, those text messages that you have in front of you were sent, and we broke up. He already had boxes packed,
you guys broke up by text, Mr. Mercier, after 6, 7, 8 months that you were dating?
In the middle of me and work.
Did you guys ever have like
it was more like she would come to my house and basically slam on every window I had until I came outside. If I didn't answer my phone, it was banging on my door. I was getting noise complaints from my neighborhood just because she was so loud. So, she would come and go. She stayed at my house. I got to a point where it was so bad I had to put boxes on the side and tell her look, it's time to go. It's just, I can't do it anymore. And it had to be over text, because if it wasn't, she was just going to be blowing up my phone nonstop. I just needed to let her know what was going on. And that's how
it had to be over text because she would be blowing up my phone nonstop. No, it had to be over text because you were afraid she'd be violent, emotional, dramatic, and embarrassing.
That too.
That's
that too.
Because she's not going to text you while she's in front of you. So you guys break up, and then tell me what happens with the police. She comes to your house with the police to get some of her things.
Yeah, so basically I texted her back and forth, letting her know that I have some items of hers. She told me that she would like to pick them up.
What were the items?
I didn't actually want a PS4, and a graphics card it was, for a computer. So basically I told her, I said, I'm going to have Uber basically send it to you because I didn't want to see her. I didn't want any confrontation. I didn't want to be in front of her. Next thing you know, I'm getting a knock on my door. It's the police. So I step outside and I say, what's going on? And he says, she's here to get her things. And I said, no problem. I had my roommate walk out, bring her the things, because once again, I did not want to be face to face with her. He brought her the things and it was fine.
Okay, what did she say? I want my couch, I want my this, I want all the money I spent on furniture. And what did you say to the police about that?
Well, basically, I said she's been gone for a month now and not living in my house. These are my things from the start anyways. Now she's trying to take my things from me all of a sudden, now that we're not together. I also bought her a computer right before we broke up So my birthday was my birthday's on the 18th. We broke up on the 3rd. I got her a very nice birthday gift just because I knew, like, you know, my birthday's coming up. Maybe she'll get me something nice.
That's the only reason you got her a nice birthday gift? Wow, you're such a catch.
So sweet.
She's very aggressive and not
I'm very
the type of girl that I really want to be with. So.
Okay, so you bought her a nice birthday gift because your birthday's coming up and you're hoping to get something nice. All right, tell me about
something
the furniture.
nice back. So I bought furniture.
When you say you bought furniture, she says
I paid cash for all the furniture. We got this off of OfferUp. So basically, I paid cash, and I actually went to the gentleman's house and bought the furniture, put it in my work truck, and brought it home. That was a long time ago. So
okay, she says she paid for it.
I'm not sure why she's buying my furniture from my house.
Did she ever move in with you, Mr. Mercier?
Oh, yeah, for 3 months. That was it.
I never moved in with him.
You say you weren't living with him. Where were you living?
So I live at home with my mom. He had asked me to move in with him around Valentine's Day, and I said that wasn't really the best interest for me because I didn't think it was good timing. We were still trying to figure out our relationship and to see if we can, you know, get more serious before I finally decided to move in with him. But he did ask me to bring in items slowly, like my PS4 and my computer desk.
Okay, which you got back the PS4, right?
Yeah.
All right, I have now looked through your Best Buy, your Discover, and your Target bills. Where am I going to see your payments towards furniture that you say you made?
The IKEA receipt is in here, in the evidence somewhere. With the IKEA receipt, I'm pretty sure I bought that through Discover. That's most of the furniture. The only proof of purchase I technically wouldn't have would be the table and the couch, because they were both, like he said, on OfferUp, and I took out cash, which all I have was a screen recording of us sending each other couches, and then I said I'm going to the bank to withdraw money. And then you see the transaction on the same date in my bank.
Would you ever give her money for any of these things, Mr. Mercier?
Cash all the time.
Do you have any receipts for any of the cash that you gave her?
This was a relationship. Cash went back and forth quite a bit. And same with going to food.
Well, originally you had said that you paid through Zelle, but there's...
Yeah, a lot. There's 5 Zelle payments for over $3,000.
Are there 5 Zelle payments from you?
No, from my mom and my friends, everybody that was around us.
I don't know that there's... First of all, I need you to stop claiming credit for any debt I might find you owe her being paid for by everyone in the world but you. Your mother and your boss, those you know about, that means I can believe you when you say you gave them money. Friends of yours paying her could be for other stuff, like she's paying for food. That's none of your business. If you don't know about it, then that's not you chipping away at your debt. How exactly are you going to prove $1,517.81 of household items?
So, unfortunately, all I have are the receipts and the actual bank statements.
What do you mean? When you say that, that's like the best evidence there could be. How are you going to prove that he owes you that? That's the part. I mean, receipt is a receipt, but what are you doing? Are you pulling just every Publix receipt you can find for the last 4 months?
No. So I had a date from, like I said, on February 14th. He said, listen, babe, I need you to help me get this house in order. His roommate, he had just kicked out. He wanted me to move in now that his roommate was out. His roommate took, the house was empty, completely empty. I helped him move in furniture. I helped him purchase the furniture. I understand, Judge. I really messed up. My parents have already given me the riot act. I know. Unfortunately, at the time, I thought I was making the right decision by trusting him, and I was wrong. Very wrong. I know. So fast forward, I really didn't think it would be a big deal after we broke up.
But it is a big deal because, let me just explain to you, Ms. Barreto, it is a big deal because you've put everything but the kitchen sink in here. Like, in other words, it's not like, hey, I just wanted to get paid back for the TV and for the hotel. Because you put in here lift rides. You've put in here pet supplies. You've put in here U-Haul. What's Grateful Jay's purchases? What's that?
He has items in his possession that he has not given back to me that he wants to keep, just like the TV. First of all, this is my last resort going to court. I did everything, but you have plenty of text messages of him agreeing to send me the money, telling me his mother was going to send me the money.
Well, she did. How much money did his mother send you, which he gave her to send you? How much money?
She alone, aside from her boss, sent me $2,750.
Right. And then the boss sent
me $1,000.
So you've received $3,750 back, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Now I spent, because I'm looking at the exact breakdown and I labeled everything, the lamp, the household, the food. I went ahead and put the TV in there and in date order. A lot of items like PDQ, Starbucks, vapes, grabba.
I know, but honey, why would you think that at the end of a
tobacco.
relationship that you can turn around and just tally up every little penny that you've ever
No,
spent
these are
and
the
sue
things
for
I'm
it?
not asking for.
Right.
I have an entire
I can't help that
breakdown.
you're suing for vapes. I'm looking at that and I'm saying, are you kidding?
The only thing I'm suing for are glass pieces from the Vapes and More store that you're looking at. That was for cleaners and pieces and little
Were you vaping
pads.
too?
And I had my own vapes, but from the store, I have my own breakdown of things that I
No, I
paid for
know.
that I am not including.
Let me explain to you what you have. You have a piece of paper that you type saying, I'm owed for all this stuff. That's different from proof that you are owed for all this stuff. That's just you saying you're owed for all this stuff. Your piece of paper, you keep bringing up, I gave it into evidence, my piece of paper. Your piece of paper is just you testifying. So now we look at bills and receipts and credit cards. And then we have to trust that every single thing you're saying is something that he owes you for, as opposed to your purchases or your expenses or something you gave. Now I look at him and Mr. Mercier. What is it you admit you owe? Because obviously you've been sending money. There's chock full of texts where you say, yes, I'll send you the money. Unfortunately, they don't really, the most specific one says, are you going to pay me back for the TV, the hotel, etc.? That's what it says. So I don't know what etc. is, but I know TV, hotel, and etc. includes TV and hotel for sure. So you're saying yes all the time. So what is it you admit you owe?
I mean, I would say I paid for everything already. I've already paid.
Well, then why are you
cash.
agreeing that you owe money? Why are you agreeing at the time of these texts?
Those are
that you
old text messages.
Right, that
Those are old
predate
text-
the
those
mother
are-
and the boss paying. Okay, so what did you believe that you did owe money for?
The hotel.
What about the TV?
I mean, at the time, I possibly agreed to owe money to the TV if I owed money to the TV.
What about
if I owed
etc.?
money in
Did
the
you
text
agree to
message, then I owed
etc.?
money.
What was etc.?
Whatever. Probably all the things that she's saying. I don't know, etc. I don't know because there's so many different things she's saying I owe her for. I couldn't tell you. There's she's down to my she's basically saying that I have no furniture in my house. I basically sleep on the floor, and she wants all my things. I'm not sure how she bought everything in my apartment, but.
Do you have texts where he's asking you to buy all his furniture, you said?
So this is all in person because remember, we were staying together.
So the answer is no. You have no proof that you bought all his furniture, right?
I have proof that I bought his furniture.
And you also said you
receipts.
weren't living with him. So why are you saying we were staying together? What does that mean?
I started staying with him when he asked me to start purchasing these items for him.
Did you ever pay rent while you were there?
No.
And that's something he brings up, and his answer is, I'm paying all the rent, I'm paying for dinners. You know, this is just a free flow and a relationship of money back and forth. $3,750 have been paid so far. You're asking for another $4,744.61. I'm not going to order it. I'm not going to order it. The $3,750 covers the TV and the hotel, which clearly from the text he owes. I wish you had been more specific about what etc. was. It's very hard for me to find a legal debt on his part to you in the free flow of things when you're just pulling out every single receipt from your relationship. I can't do it, Ms. Barreto. You have the burden of proof when you come to court. You're the one who has to prove that he owes you more money. If he had paid you zero, I would certainly be ruling in your favor in the amount of the TV and the hotel. But you don't have a promissory note. You don't have any text from him saying I owe you money other than the ones we've already been over where after that he paid you $3,750. So, you know, I don't know how you plan to prove your case, but I've given you quite ample time to do that. Consider this a lessons learned. My verdict is for the defendant.
What?
Well, the plaintiff seemed rather shocked here when the judge says she's not going to win anything. Nothing. She was suing for $4,700. She doesn't get anything. Let's see what she's thinking right now. Ms. Barreto, what's your reaction?
I don't even know what to say. I am in a lot of debt. My credit score has dropped over 80 points. And the fact that he has not paid me a single dollar and he gets to keep all of these items is actually insane right now. I have IKEA furniture there. I have every single thing in that house I had purchased to help him out. And the fact that this is how it ended, I am completely shocked. I don't even know what to say. This is not how I was expecting this to go at all.
The judge gave you a pretty rough going over your free spending in this affair. Do you think you've learned anything from this?
I already learned my lesson after talking to my parents about this. That's why they told me to go to court. I was advised by a lot of people to take him to court to get this settled.
$3,700 was paid back to you. You're claiming the $47,000 is still owed, right?
Well, there's still a bunch of furniture. There's pots and pans. There's dishes. There's food, all the food I purchased in the house. That's crazy.
Let me talk to Mr. Mercier. Mr. Mercier, how do you feel about this? Do you think you just got away with murder, huh?
No, definitely didn't get away with nothing. I paid my dues. That's all I got to say. Paid my money.
You don't feel bad for her at all? You don't think you owe any of that stuff that she's asking about?
To be honest, I don't, because of what she put me through. I paid her money. I don't feel bad at all. She's also put me through court for money that was never owed to her, so.
All right, you got off lucky, young man. Lucky. Let's see what Harvey feels about this. This is a real interesting lesson for everybody. Harvey?
Doug, we've talked about this before. When two people are in a relationship and money goes back and forth, it is going to be really hard to go into court and say, this particular item, he owes me or she owes me. You need to set the ground rules. And I know it sounds a little bit onerous when you get in a relationship, and especially if you move in with somebody, to start saying, okay, let's talk about who's responsible for what. I am telling you, grown-ups should be able to do that maturely. And if you don't do it and you ignore it, you're going to end up like these people.
Recently, our apartment building was sold and the new owner raised our rent. Can they also raise our security deposit?
Well, yes. If the owner is able to raise the rent, it's because your lease is over.
Right.
Because they can't raise the rent in the middle of your lease,
Right.
but if your lease is over or you're a month-to-month tenant, they would have to give you 30 days notice that they're raising your rent, and you can choose to leave if that's what you want to do. But when they raise your rent, they can also raise your security deposit.
And most landlords will, because the whole idea is they want the security deposit to be commensurate with a month's rent. They can certainly raise your security deposit. It's not out of bounds. It's not unfair.